Most of the other things that you see method-wise are some derivative of that idea. So EFT, for example, this is given away free. You can find all the instruction that you need for it, much like focusing, on the internet. And it deals with tapping specific acupuncture points while expressing an intent. And the idea is that it's a releasing technique. Well, interestingly, the person who developed WHEE is a very, very well-known and noted researcher. He began to wonder, do I really have to tap all of those points? And he got it down to the point where people were just tapping left and right inside their mouth, from one side of their mouth to the other on their teeth. And it was still a very effective technique. So these release techniques are all very interrelated. Generally speaking, they all have focusing as their great-granddaddy. And they have a surprising degree of effectiveness that I found that's associated with them. Let me give you an example for EFT, which I'm not going to try to teach you here. You can use the links that I give you in the resource section, but you can also, frankly, just search Google video and you'll find all the video instructions you could ever possibly want on it. And it's very, very easy to learn, very, very easy to do. Now, does it actually have something to do with acupuncture points? I don't know, maybe. Difficult to say. A strict acupuncturist will say it's all about the angle that you insert the needle at, and it's difficult to find the points. They're in a different place on every person. So teaching you to tap in the same places as the next person, it's not going to be as effective if you're really trying to hit acupuncture points. And, so there's that argument that's out there. But, the bottom line is it doesn't matter. If you can get to the point where you're moving your tongue left and right, tapping your teeth inside your mouth, and it's a similar degree of effectiveness, who cares, right? Who cares how it works? Well, let me give you a little story about EFT. So I had a friend who was very obsessed with neuro-linguistic programming, who just, it seemed to him like that was the thing. He just really, really felt like that's what would work the best for him in his life. And he studied it, and he studied it on a scale that is almost unimaginable. While he was studying this and applying these techniques, his life was going into the toilet. House got foreclosed, lost all of his businesses, totally broke. Previously, very successful. I kept telling him all throughout this, listen, if a method is not working, you have to shift the method. Don't think someday you're going to magically learn some new NLP technique, and that's the thing. If NLP isn't working for you, it's not working for you. Shift to something else. And I'd identified where he was at on the model. And incidentally, NLP is on the model basically between focusing and EFT. So he was in the right neighborhood. But I said, why don't you, I knew he wasn't on the focusing side. So I said, why don't you try EFT? Well, finally at rock bottom, he finally did try EFT. And the results were absolutely immediate in his life. I mean, immediate in his life. He had a couple of days to go before he was going to get kicked out of where he was living. He immediately had another place. It was basically right next door. He had to move his furniture like one condo over. Just all the sky just, opened up and started raining down good fortune on him. That's what it should be like when you're using the right combination of techniques. Now, he's a good friend of mine, right? I spent a lot of time with him. We talked about this stuff a lot. I was able to very easily identify where he was at. You don't have me sitting across the table from you, so you're going to have to experiment around a little bit with this stuff. Nonetheless, that is an outstanding example, and it's one that I've seen again and again and again and again. So I'm giving you some high-level techniques here, and you're going to be placed somewhere on this continuum near one of these techniques. My recommendation is try these top-line techniques, focusing, EFT, Sedona release technique, whichever one is closest to where you're at on the model. Try them first. But all sorts of other things you can try, EMDR, NLP, for instance, between focusing and EFT, WHEE between EFT and the release technique, all sorts of other things that you can try in here. But these are the things that seem to work for more people than the other ones.